So I sent a message that my daughter won't marry a sweeper. So then Indradumna Maharaj took it that this is an insult against Jagannath. He's not sweeping the road, municipal sweeper, he's humbling himself before the Lord. And they went on a big, so they declared war against that king, and to defend the honor of Jagannath. So their whole army was marching against the other army, and they're going to meet in some place for fighting. On the way, there was a lady selling yogurt. An old lady, village lady selling yogurt, and she saw two young generals, princes, riding on horses came by, and they said, "How much for the yogurt?" "We want some yogurt." And she says, "Well, you have to pay me so much." She says, "We don't have any money. Give us the yogurt, King Indradumna is coming. You can give him this ring, and then he'll reimburse you for the yogurt." She said, "Okay." But people were so honest then. If somebody got a gold ring, who's going to give it to get the few pints paisa for the nowadays? That'd be it, right? But she was such an honest lady that she's supposed to give the ring to the king and then get what she was due. She didn't want to take more than what she was due. She's trying to see the king, but people say, "We can't see the king. Who are you? You're just some listening." "No, I have to give the king this ring. I have to get my money." And the king said, "What's going on? Bring it over." And she said, "Two of your princes came and they gave, they took my yogurt and they gave me this ring and said that if I give you, you pay me for the yogurt." So let me see that ring. When he got the ring, he almost fell off his chariot. He said, "This is Jagannath's ring." What did these two princes look like? So one was very dark color, kind of bluish tint, riding on a white horse. The other one was white color, riding on a grey horse. The one with the dark color had a peacock feather in his hair, and the other one had a white feather. So then the news came to the whole army that Krishna and Balaram had come and given their blessings. So then they knew they were going to be victorious. Because war, you never know what's going to happen. So then after this, the whole thing was worked out. Finally, they didn't have to fight. When they were facing each other, then somehow the thing was negotiated. So such a big issue. So this tradition was being followed by Prataparudra, but before Krishna is sweet. And here, somehow Lord Mayor got inspired, he was speaking. Actually the king, even then I saw in Puri, that's for about 5 minutes maximum. But what this did was, because he humbled himself before Krishna, that impressed Lord Chaitanya. Then Lord Chaitanya was inclined to give him mercy. So by doing seva, we can get more mercy. And then we can see how Prabhupada, he was very happy over the London Rath Yatra, and we used to go to Trafalgar Square. For many years we were going to Balsea Park, Balsea Park. Battersea Park. But now, since the past few years, they're going back again to Trafalgar Square. And Prabhupada liked that. They were comparing here that from the ground it looked like the rats were like compared to Mount Sumeru. In London they compare it to the Nelson Monument. So here are rats. Was towering because of Mr. Jain's able stewardship. Somehow the rats could squeeze through the narrow streets and not snatch any car. So like this, if we want to please the Lord, it's not so difficult. We should do something. We can get Lord Chaitanya's mercy if we do something to serve Krishna. We should think what in our life we can do something for Krishna. Or how we can regularly do some service to Krishna. Without difficulty, we can get Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Lord Chaitanya gives His mercy very freely. At the same time, if one really wants some higher blessings, then we shouldn't expect just a total freebie. We should be willing to do something for the Lord. We got the opportunity of devotional service. Now what are we going to do with it? It's like somebody gives you money. Say your father gives you some money. You must see how you're going to use it, how do you invest it, how do you use it wisely. Sometimes in a rich family, you see how the children are being responsible to see that they won't squander all the hard-earned wealth of the parents when they inherit. So we're all children of Krishna, so we all inherit unlimited mercy. But before we can cash in on that, the Lord wants us, He gives us some mercy and sees how we use it. Gives us a devotional service. Now how do we use that freedom to do that service? So doing devotional service is the greatest mercy. Because when we do service to Krishna, that is an opportunity to become really intimately united with Him, connected to Him. And then through that connection we can transcend all kinds of obstacles and we can achieve our highest perfection. I'll leave some extra time for question and answers today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Auntie, any question? She has to go to work, so the first time. Anyone have a question?
Practically, you see, Krishna consciousness is more welcomed in other countries except India. As recently, all the Krishna born in India. Krishna consciousness is more welcomed in other countries, more than India, but not in India. Much.
They're just coming from India, what do you think?
Now many magazines write about Krishna consciousness in India as they are doing here. We have so many magazines write about Tathayatra and other things. India nobody touching it.
It's in all of newspapers. Every newspaper has an article. Now we're getting very good response in India. In India you have to organize things in a very big way and make it, if you don't do it in a big way then you don't get so much. Well, that way maybe in the West, even if you don't do things in a very big way, still people are attracted. Here it's very new in the West, but not so much new anymore. It used to be very new. Initially it was like selling hot cakes or something. And everybody, all the young people were interested. Now it's not so easy. Wherever you find that people realize that it's religion or it has to do with God, you get a certain number of people who are negative to that. So rather you find in India that some people, they know that, well, this is to do with God, this is something with religion, so they have preconceived prejudices. Whereas sometimes in the West they don't really know what it is, and so they're interested, like curiosity to find out. So that's an advantage. But then it depends on how you present it to people, whether they'll continue to pursue it. Other thing Prabhupada said is that in the West, if people don't have any contact with Krishna consciousness, they haven't committed any offenses. Where in India, says someone's on a lot of contact, they committed many aparats already to gurus and Krishna, and just like some of the modern cinemas, they always like to spoof godmen and spoof avatars and make fun of them. So all these things are offensive, and they are blockages in our spiritual progress. So people who've already been exposed to offensive statements, they have a harder time to surrender to Krishna than someone who's just coming fresh and doesn't have such a offensive contact. But then after Krishna consciousness has been around for a while, the people get a chance to make offended.
Everybody is spiritually inclined from that. And we've been having that kind of atmosphere from the time we're born. So we exactly don't need to be in any consciousness, like Krishna conscious or something. It's there in the family. You're born that way. So you needn't go in any cult that way.
That's what he said. That it has to be in a big way.
Big way. So then
Small
only
way
you get to
sing.
know.
And it's coming in newspapers now. And people, if you go to Bombay and all, like 1,000 Mayapur,
Why in Calcutta?
Calcutta, everywhere, smaller like Pune and so many places, now they are having temples everywhere. Even Rath you have in Madhya Pradesh, you are going to Rath.
Yeah, this statement was there maybe an initial first thing in India, but now it's really taken off. We have to be very relevant to the people. Do house programs, do different programs for the people, have big festivals that they can relate with, have interesting speakers, and they get involved. Have beautiful temples. And this house, if you have a small place, and you have to really organize it very well so that it's like a little jewel, very well, and people will be impressed. And you're going to remodel the house and build a new kitchen and expand the temple, and you take an opportunity to sing over the whole facilities here and how to make it, 21st century UK standard. With the Indian touch, culture. Think what facilities and what from the time a person walks in the door, what they see, what they do, where they go, how you receive people, how you sitting reception programs, the time after where they take prasadam, where they wash their hands, we'll all plan out the whole thing so that it's completely organized in such a way that people get the best possible use and impression. In America, they did a study of all the religious groups, and then this one, I believe somebody did a study, and they said different aspects. So they said philosophy, Krishna consciousness got number one. That's philosophy. Then they did a study about dealing, friendliness, receptions, nice, personal care. And Krishna consciousness was down the bottom. So other groups who don't have any philosophy, they don't have any proper idea, but they're very expert, when they come in the door, welcome you, sit you down, treat you real nice, And so they get the converts. Because the dealings are real nice. And most people don't have the intelligence to go in what's actually the philosophy. These people treated me nice. You go to the Mormons, they teach you so nice, and they tell about family, all the family together and everything, and so people convert, and even hardly anybody knows what their philosophy is. They don't even believe in God. Their concept is something totally different. They have concept that, like Brahma, they believe in Brahma, that there's one universal creator in every universe, and if he produces all the progeny, creates all the living entities. They heard this from one angel, Gabriel, and he's the father of Jesus. And if you are a pious man in your life, then next life you can become one of these universal creators, have your own universe, you can populate it, and in this way you can also become father of Jesus. So it's kind of, if you ask them who's the actual supreme above all these universal creators, we don't know. That was not revealed to us.
First impression, what you want to say.
But what the people get, when they don't know, most people, if they knew all this, we went in there, squeezed out from them, what's actually your philosophy? This is all nice smiles and the sweets and the sit down, what do you really believe? We kept pushing and pushing and pushing until finally we got it out from them, what they really believe. But most people, even they convert, they don't know what they believe. They just know that they're family oriented and they treat you nice and they believe in Jesus. They believe in Jesus as son of Brahma. Something like that. Brahmana's Putra. Maybe he is Brahmana's Putra. Something like that. Brahma is a little. So we want to, at least we have the greatest philosophy, but we should also treat the people as nice. One professional, Peter Burwa, she's a Prabhupada disciple, not initiated, but he accepted him under his shelter, but he never got initiated. He's one of the famous tennis professionals for training. He has trainers all over the world. He's a vegetarian and has all those people. They have to sign a pact, no drinking and no non-veg. And he's really heavy, and once they drink, even once they just take a sip, out. But anyway, so he goes now and he mainly does seminars. He gets paid $5,000 a day to do seminars on service. The service industry is one of the biggest industries, if not the biggest industry in the world today. So one time he came to Dallas, Texas for a North American continental meeting with all the leaders, and he gave a seminar. He said, why should the hotels and airlines be famous for service? He said, actually the Hare Krishna movement, dharma is service. The hotels and airlines should be coming to the Hare Krishna movement to learn how to serve their clients. That should be the standard we should have. The whole world should be wanting to learn from us. But it's not like that, unfortunately. When we say that our dharma is Atiti Narayana, a guest comes, he should be treated like God. If our gurus come, we treat him nice. Maybe if Krishna really walked in the door, hopefully we treat him okay. But like, if we believe that any guest could be Krishna in disguise, we treat all the guests as if it was Krishna in disguise. The Prabhupada said that every temple should have puri, dough in the morning and sabjis cooked. Whoever comes here, you sit them down, feed them hot puris right off the fire with sabji. Has anyone in ISKCON got a hot puri and sabji since Prabhupada said that? That was the standard Prabhupada wanted. We come in the temple, you get fed, you get dined, forget the other, you get charnamrita, you get all the nice treatments you will use, and never want to, you want to always come back to that place. So that's where so many small institutions surpass, because they have developed that culture. So now more and more devotees are learning. It's one of our congregational preaching ministries' objectives to make temples as places of pilgrimage for the congregation, so that the congregation and visitors, they would see the temple as a home for them to come and visit and get some support. So there's many factors. Some temples have very big buildings, but people don't feel at home in them. You know any like that, Sarvagya? Opulent temples where it's all commercialized. So the more that we can see how to be relevant to the people. Those big buildings attract masses of people, in India at least. My idea was, my understanding was like in America or England or Europe, to build something really big costs so much money. And it still won't impress people, because there's always something bigger, and like that. Where in India, Prabhupada used a little bit of money to build some monuments that were very impressive to people. They don't have so many new modern religious monuments coming up. So it went a long way. But here, it's not so easy to do such a big monument. It costs millions and millions of dollars to build anything. They built that Millennium Dome and everything, it was a big flat. I mean, even if you build something big, doesn't mean people will like it. But they have something that's well organized. And they have the service side, outreach programs, the dealings. Whatever facility you have, it's neat, clean, nice, and then it's oriented to serving the devotees' needs. I think over the years, the manor's done that a lot. They normally have so many programs for the weddings and samskaras and house programs. They have a reception team, I think, when people come on the weekend. I'm not sure exactly. I think they've improved that a lot, what I heard. So here in Birmingham, let's see what your goals are, how to achieve. This is it was announced yesterday, largest city in England. They put London in another category. So among cities, this is the largest. This is quite a cosmopolitan city too. A lot of different ethnic groups are here. Municipality is giving such nice support. I was surprised yesterday when I went into the parking lot of the municipal building there, and they're blaring away Hare Krishna rap. The Food for Life there was blaring Hare Krishna rap, and the whole was echoing in the building. And they're cooking there. I mean, what municipal building lets you cook in their parking lot, it's got big, with the karagis and everything, and it's cooking out. Even in Calcutta, I don't think, they won't even let you, you can't even cook in the park, but to speak of the municipal building, you have to find your own place and cook and bring it. So they get so cooperative here. Plus, I didn't announce it because I didn't want other groups to get envious. But they actually gave us £2,000 grant for the festival. Now what? Municipalities that give money for such a festival. That's over $1.5 lakh of rupees. What do you think?
Absolutely. 1.5 lakh rupees.
So that's a wonderful...
It was 1 hour he was just
Sweeping.
enjoying. The way was so complicated. A lot of things can be done.
The wife is vegetarian, somebody said. The wife is vegetarian.
Yeah, you could have, once a year, you could have some big banquet with all the town councillors, vegetarian banquet or something, maybe further cultivate the relationship. If you have big supporters that would contribute for building a temple, maybe get some central land from the government or something. What scope they have or what. So we're just saying here that the one street was a dead street and they just put a big convention hall and now it's become the biggest street in. Need some cultural, Krishna Kanka Cultural Center. Central Birmingham. Have our Pandavasenas here very active, how to keep Krishna consciousness relevant and interesting for them. How to get them in the fire. I was talking to Raghunath, the lead singer of the Shelter band. He said so many times they got the young straight edge punk rockers inspired them when they came and joined the temple. But they were like with this, just like people I was lecturing yesterday, this is a revolution. They give the young youth, the whole vision of the spiritual revolution, change the world, make a difference. They joined the temple, they handed some brooms, they cleaned the toilet, cleaned the little, nothing happening, no preaching, no. And so then they feel like, what is my revolution? What am I doing? So you need to make everyone really see how we can play a part in changing the way people think and change their lives. I want to thank Ashok Jain and his family and friends for coming. He's one of our, he was the main supporter in Guwahati, Assam, and then he shifted to Calcutta and he's supporting a movement there. He's under my shelter also, he's active all practicing Krishna consciousness. So they were on a tour of the UK and I told them that they were going to leave on the 9th, I think, and I told them we're having Rath Yatra on 11th, so they postponed their departure to attend this festival. What's your realization? Birmingham?
I found that lot more can be done here. People are still at the Jigyasu stage here. Jigyasu, enthusiastic. And when I was speaking to a lot of people who came, mostly Punjabis and Gujaratis here, they said I'm coming for the first time. So if what you said, people can go and make small teams and go to houses, make a list of people who are enthusiastic. 2 lakh Indians staying here, I understand. 200,000. And they really want this Krishna consciousness. They were very impressed yesterday when I talked to people. They look forward. Somebody has to go and then I think so a lot of activity can be done here. All supports is possible from this place. What I could grasp yesterday. Really, people are very, very keen.
Very
Here.
good.
Very fertile land that way, burning down. And I really enjoyed myself.
Balaji, want to say something? কিছু বলবেন?
আমার খুব ভালো লেগেছে।
She liked it very much. She also came from Calcutta. Yes, so I've been trying to get the Bhakti Rickshaw to take off in UK, but it's working very well in other places, just where people don't have a mental block about it. Yeah, it seems to work very well. Where people had started and just they have this idea that, well, it won't work here. So it's like in America they say it won't work here because it works in India because people are outgoing and it's their culture, so it works there. But in America, we're more like rugged individuals and we can't do anything in an organized way, so we have to do everything spontaneous and nobody likes to follow any system. They come up with, then in India they say we can't do this, Americans can do it because they're like more outgoing people, we're actually very kind of shy people and we don't like to. Everyone has their own vision of themselves, and so everyone thinks that we can't do it, the other one can do it. But this is where they do it, it works. Because they can have push it through the roadblocks. And people find their own way of how to adjust a little bit to make it suitable to that place. I was just in Siberia. There's no temple there. Siberia, Russia, there's no temples. One little house like this in the middle in Novosibirsk. And so every town they have hundreds of devotees, and they had a festival with 500 devotees, and they're all enthusiastic, big kirtan. But I asked, how many live in a temple? One lady lifted her hand, sat in the Novosibirsk preaching center. Everyone else is congregation, but they're so fired up. Every city there has, last year they had 5 or 6 Bhakti Rickshaws, this year they have 10 or 15. It's doubling every year, so it's exploding. In places, you won't hear these places. I mean, if I've heard of, like Siberia, even in Russia, they consider it like, in the world, Siberia is like the most out of the place, so very far from anywhere. Just, it's like the steppes, flat land, wheat growing, and very few people. But in between there, like from one city to the next is 6 or 10 hours drive. But in these cities, there's maybe 500,000 people, 1 million people. They're doing the Bhakti Rickshaw and it's working very well. There's no Indians there. It's all Russian people. I didn't see any Indians. And then you find them also in some other places, they're doing in New Orleans, they're doing a Bhakti Rickshaw, both Indian and American, and it's working quite well. Just getting the people to do it. Some of our devotees from the Middle East went to Toronto. In 1 year they set up 6 groups. The president put 2 of them on the board of the temple, so this is a really wonderful service. They do intensively every day house programs, every day going out. Husband and a wife, one takes turn watching the kids, they do their studies, the other one go out and do a program. For them, recreation means preaching. That's fun. It's not a burden. It's a burden of love. They love it. So it's giving a neutral opinion here that this is a fertile ground. 200,000 Indian community. So we did some intensive house programs, and that's why I brought up yesterday Gokula, Devi Dasi and her husband Chris to the stage and did the Annaprasana. I'd actually already done the Annaprasana, I did it again. Just so that people, because how many Indian families do Annaprasana? Out of 200,000, I don't know, even 1% does it. So we can provide, why only Indian family? Even the Western, there's so many.
Automatically they'll be attracted to the others.
Not that we're only for the Indian family, but the Indian are, obvious market, and then we want to reach also the ethnic, other citizens here. I was thinking how Krishna consciousness has a monopoly on one thing. We're the only religion in the world that has a system to offer spiritual merit to departed relatives. The Buddhists don't believe in this. They don't believe in sacrifice, so they don't have that system. And the other religions don't even believe in reincarnation. So it's not a question. So we're the only religion that believes that you can send spiritual merit to your forefathers through Srat.
Yes.
Now everybody has relatives that die, and now most of the people in the world do believe in reincarnation, even though the religions don't accept it. But the people have already figured out it's the only thing that makes any sense. So we have a monopoly. If we just advertise that service, that we will do a puja for your departed relative. We'll do a market, word it properly. I'm saying puja, but they wouldn't say puja. So we do a send spiritual merit, help a departed relative from some hellish existence in the next life. We're the only religion that didn't do that. We could, whoever markets it first, you can have one center in every shopping mall. Stop in, hey, I want Uncle Pete, could you, here's a picture, please do send him a gift. He was a nice guy. My grandfather. Yeah. And if you do it, then you're going to preach to all those people. I mean, just showing you different ideas. Thank you, Archie. Let it go? Okay. When's your flight?
15 point.
I'm going to Mayana and then which temple? London based one.
So?
See, I spoke to Shiji Prabhu yesterday. Got all the numbers.
Oh, you haven't been to London yet? No.
I didn't go to London. Straight away I went to Wales and then Scotland and other places.
Dakshina Naravi.
Vaikuntha Krishna Das is the temple commander there. He's my disciple.
In
Never.
Advice for running an Namahat. We have a Namahat in Swindon, which is about 80 miles away from here. The congregation has reduced quite a lot recently. And there's about 6 now. There used to be quite a few. Used to be about 20 even. A lot have gone to the manor. Some have gone to Wales, some have just gone. Some have travelled India and done their own thing. Now there's about 6 of us left, core members. The thing is, we all work, and I've got a little daughter and married. A lot of us are married. It's kind of difficult to find the time and preach.
Well, 6 is good. They could have a Bhakti Dictionary format. And then there's icebreaker, kirtan, discussion, and we discuss about the preaching. Sometimes invite some charismatic preacher to come and do a program and advertise in the hall and get some new contacts that way. And then get somehow you need to gather contacts. That's one way is having some programs, or just having house programs, interested people. And then from the house programs, you tell them we have regular weekly meetings. So you make it in the week that you have 1 day a week where you have your regular meeting of your core members. And then another day where you have for going out and preaching, or if you have, depends how many people you have who are capable of doing different levels of preaching. There's a preaching where you actually go out and give a lecture, and we do a kirtan, talk to people, like house program. Then these preachers just go visit somebody and talk to them and try to convince them that they should come by or invite them to come. So it takes a little more expertise to give a lecture than it does to visit somebody and talk to them. There's kind of two levels of basic preacher and advanced preacher. So it's, if everybody schedules in their week, they get 7 days, maybe 1 day shopping, 1 day this, 1 day, whatever, how they do. Okay, 1 day for the Bhakti, for the Navhat meeting, another day for something, an outreach program. And if they can get another day in addition, okay, great, at least like, and then that way, gather names. And you have a Bhakti Vriksha manual?
I haven't, but I can get one.
Is there talks about how to cultivate people?
I have a Namahata guide that Kripamoya did, and we published it on the internet. It's iskon.org.uk, which is another thing that we do. Publish a website. There's a manual.
Maybe you can write the site for me later. I'll look at it.
We're trying to do Kripamoya. We're trying to arrange a preachers travelling guide where we ask the preachers, like at the manor and so on, to write down when they can be available throughout the year, and then we issue that sheet to everybody. Everybody, will write down all the different Namahats or different congregations will write down when they are available for a preacher to come. And that way, hopefully, everybody knows when a preacher can come and where. But that hasn't taken off yet.
Just like Bhakti Purushottam Swami is visiting here, I heard a couple of days ago they had a house program with 100 people came.
Yeah.
So somehow, if you get the 100 people who are interested, like to also have another program in their house, or like to be more involved, somehow to get their names and addresses, and then to phone them up, visit them, phone them up, organize the program. Otherwise they come, they go, who came, who was it?
Mommy,
You lose this here.
mommy.
Getting the contacts and then cultivating those, until they themselves become committed members. Contact, cultivate, commit.
Sometimes, Maharaj, what I find is that you can get those interested, but they take so much of your energy to keep them interested. It drains my energy. Just keeping them interested. Some members we've had for like 2 years plus, and they still need your enthusiasm. They still need you to say, "Come on, let's go out here, let's go there." And I'm thinking, gosh, I'm getting drained by telling those that they should know better by now. And this is a problem I find sometimes.
Well, it's kind of also an expectation. It's like when you're cooking. What happened?
I can still feel it.
You called it a word.
Yeah, I don't need to bring it. Well, I don't think I have them, so I can just do it like that.
So, it's like you're cooking. Some things, cook a spinach takes 5 minutes. You cook a sweet rice takes 2 hours. You got different things on different burners. If you see somebody's, on the slow burner, and you give it a stir once in a while, and someone's, really takes it up, you give them more of your attention, because they're gonna be, they're gonna become more committed quicker, and they'll be able to, in turn, help to take care of other devotees. Sometimes you can have one person take help another person, so everything doesn't come on your head. Each one teach one. Each one help one. Kind of mentor system. So then sometimes when another devotee who doesn't have that much to do, but if they become a mentor for another person that needs that kind of person with here, then suddenly they get fired up that they have to stay on a higher level. Just discussing, coming up with programs and going out sometimes every 4 or 5 meetings, going out, having a morning, having a picnic meeting, having the Rath Yatra in Birmingham, one week everyone manages a book table or does so. As a group they do something. So that way then become more exciting and interesting for other people.
That's what we do once a year. We invite Giri up and we do a big festival in Swindon if we can. What we do throughout the year, we collect the Lakshmi together, and once we've got enough, then we'll invite the Hare Krishna festival team over. And that way the whole congregation, they do get fired up and put in posters up and preach in kirtan, and that brings us all together. That does.
Yeah, so there's some things you can do that don't take a lot of money. Like going on a picnic on a Sunday, Prabhupada said everybody can cook for themselves, so you can just bring the same ingredients, you cook for yourself. Or everybody brings one prep and go out and eat it together in the park and have a little kirtan and discussion. So something different a little bit, it gives people this, you can bring all the families and everyone can have some program for the kids too. Seeing what's find out what the makeup is of the group. It's all rehearsed as students and things. If there's some colleges, we do some college programs. We got Pandavasenas, that we get Pandavasenas to organize the Pandavasena branch over there. You want to keep in touch, I can have Kunteyadas also. He's our secretary of Congregational Preaching Ministry. You can give some input.
Who's that, sorry, Maharaj?
Kunteyadas. He's my assistant with the Congregational Preaching.
Is Kripamoya also part of this?
Yeah, he's our national leader for UK.
Right, because we keep in touch with him regularly.
Well, he's the main person to keep in touch with, but just in case anybody likes help. He just want ideas and things. We can tell you what's going around the world.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Krishna. We have a congregational preaching newsletter, you getting that?
Yeah.
Get the journal?
We have the congregational newsletter is the only thing that we get, and I publish that on the iskon.org.uk website as well. So I get it from Kripamoya, and I publish it on the website so that others
What were
can.
the scores?
Sorry?
It's an international one.
You get the
Oh, sorry, no, don't get the international one. We just get a local one, a national one from Kripamoya.
So we have an international one.
Oh no, we don't get that much.
You're late. You're late. Would you like it?
Yes, please, Maharaj.
There's a couple of books in there. The first one says Congregational Preaching Ministry.
How did you come to your faith? How did you come by? How did you come to this? What brought you there?
Prabhupada's mercy. Guru Kripa, he came around. I was looking for the truth
Yeah, I understand.
from Prabhupada. He impressed me and he gave a very clear explanation. Then I applied what he taught and it worked. That further increased the faith. There's no answer, so. Your name is? Karen.
Gareth.
Gary.
Yeah. Gareth.
Gareth.
Oh.
Gary.
Also, I'm quite interested in this thing about the cycle of rebirth.
Pardon?
You know, the cycle of rebirth. Is it samsara?
Right.
How do you, for instance, say if you accidentally do something which you didn't consciously plan to do, and you realise that, you know, that is another part of the cycle. Like, say I killed a fly by accident, a life, but it was an accident. And what? Does that go to the cycle? Does that go to where I have to learn?
Obviously, everything that's done according to what, if a person is an Eskimo and they eat fish, it's not going to be as heavy as if you're living somewhere else and you have alternatives or other food stuff. It says there's 5 kinds of Jayapataka, unexpected kind of accidental sins that we hardly can avoid. Killing insects when we walk and clean the house and things when we sweep. And then when we breathe, we're killing microorganisms. When we cook, like the next page, when we light fires and cook, when we plow the fields, these kind of things, it's hard to avoid killing some little something, you know, maybe accidentally. Maybe not so much in England, but especially in India where everything's living, where it's so much tropical countries, it's a lot more like insects. So it's not a major sin, but it's still sin there. And when we drive in our cars now, sometimes the windshield wipers get filled with flies in the summer and smashing against the car. You run over a squirrel or something. These are there, it's on our karmic record. So it says in order to get rid of these type of unavoidable sins, you have to do sacrifice. There's things you're not doing consciously, not intentionally doing, you really can't avoid it. It's just like, it's part of life. And there's things that we can avoid, like eating meat. We don't have to eat meat. Pause that minute. Is it running?
Yes.
That's not how you pause it.
It's not stillness, it's still.
You know, in the back is a red button. That's there.
Oh, okay.
You wanted to stay in touch yesterday, you said? Did you give me the details? You want? What's your name, Boo?
Justin.
Justin. You have a nephew, Any question?
I have a few questions actually. If a devotee is in 2 minds to get married, if that devotee wants to stay celibate all his life, but thinks about his partner, what should that devotee do? If the devotee knows that his partner, if he doesn't get married to his partner, there's every chance that she will get married to a non-devotee. She'll be forced by her parents to get married to a non-devotee. What should that devotee do? Sacrifice his celibacy and get married to the Mataji. And from then, when he get married, then the whole family will gradually be brought into Krishna consciousness. Or should Or should I be selfish? Should I be selfish and just think about my own spiritual gains?
Well, once ago it says somebody's of two minds whether to be married or not, probably should be married. It's not so easy to be a lifelong celibate. And even as a grihasta, one can be celibate by regulating themselves. That's another form of celibacy, regulated sex life. To have children. So, usually if somebody's already has a partner and everything, it's before they, usually someone wants to be a lifelong celibate, they're already like living like a brahmachari in some ashram and practicing strict celibacy and brahmachari life. Do that for some years and then see whether they can think to do it, to make a commitment to do it for a whole life. Because theoretically it sounds real easy, but when you're actually doing it, it's a whole different thing. If you tell yourself, okay, even if someone who is a brahmachari, and then they have the idea, oh, eventually I'll probably get married. It's also not so much pressure on them, it's when someone makes the commitment that, at least even internally to oneself, that I'm going to be a lifelong celibate. Then one gets attacked in so many different ways. It's like, if you say, I'm not going to eat grains today because it's Ekadasi, okay, one day no grains, but if you say, I'm not going to eat grains for the rest of my life, then wait a minute, what about those pakoras, what about the samosas, sweet rice, and all these, wait a minute, it's going too far, you know. So, sometimes people sentimentally, they make some kind of idea, but it's something that shouldn't just be whimsically or very rashly thought. Something someone should do gradually and test themselves and see whether that's what is made up. There's, are we back online?
No.
Look inside the eyepiece and see it.
Yeah, I think so.
Is it red? Does it say REC, record?
Yes. So it was recording all the time.
Huh?
It must have been recording all the time.
Yeah, because there's a little red button in the back.
Yeah, it's on.
That's the one that stops and starts the ones in the recording mode. And the ones on the top
Oh,
is
yes,
the
I see.
VCR mode.
I see it now. I
Shall I
haven't
give
heard
you
this
out,
latest one.
No. Your name is Justin too? You do that?
Jutty, they call me.
Is there anything else you want personally? Step on the ladder, whatever matches up. Not those words, whatever. So you're probably a lot safer if you have a Krishna conscious partner. I wouldn't marry someone just because they may marry a karmi, but marry someone because they will practice Krishna consciousness with you together and help you to create a Krishna, and you work as a team, because marriage means a life team, life partner.
But can you get married and not have children? Or is children a must if you get married?
Well, you can try to have one child, don't have to have 15.
What if you don't want any children at all? Is there any point getting married?
Well, the idea if you're getting married is if you have mercy on some, what if you don't make it in your next life and everybody in the world wanted to do that? You want to get give an opportunity to some soul to come in the world and to be Krishna conscious. So you can do a very careful Garbhodan, samskar, everything, try to give an opportunity to some spiritually active soul to get a chance of it. There's no guarantee that it can see anything, but if you do, and if you don't want to have more, you can at least give one a chance. Because the idea is that otherwise, if you don't go through the full experience in Grihastha life, then the idea is that you may later on look back and say, well, I missed out on something, and then if you feel like that, it may bring you back to another birth. The idea is that you'll experience what is material life, you'll experience what is no material pleasure, and then you will also experience what's the higher spiritual pleasure. So then you don't look back. You don't have to worry, I've already done that, I've been there, I have something better. But if you don't go through that, if you have strong enough faith, and you're just fixed up enough, and you're not attached, it's okay. But for most people, they get this like midlife crisis, like, I missed out on something, and you find 45-year-old people looking, I gotta get married, and when they should have done it when they were, 30s or 20s. And they're carrying a baby around at the age of 50 when they should already be renouncing. It's like, even it's not, probably it's like over 35, you start having kids. It's not fun even, it's like you're too old, you're more edgy, so you don't have the patience anymore to deal with it, like you would when you were younger. Where it's like, so you want to do things at the right time. So he probably reckons between 25 and 30, make a decision whether you want to be, if you're even thinking about being a lifelong celibate, then the idea is not then to live in an ashram. It's not like if somebody's living outside doing a job.
Thank you for watching our videos. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.